Mental Health Monday.
On Radio City Talk, tackling the stigma.
Radio City Talk.
And it's time to talk mental health extra. We had a mental health extra yesterday on Bank Holiday Monday. Really interesting to hear Jason McAteer again talking about the issues he's faced and the troubles he's had with his mental health, and being able to face that up as well and being very honest about it too. Really interesting chat. You can listen on the podcast for that. But we've got Jake Mills in the studio once more, Mental Health Extra. Good afternoon, Jake.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm all right. It's got a bit muggy outside.
It has, and I'm in shorts and t-shirt. I dressed for the bank holiday.
Well,
and I got bank holiday weather. Really, I think this is what was meant to be bank holiday weather.
I mean, it was fine. It was all right this morning. Yeah. And then no, it's not quite so good. Just as I'm going to venture out into.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to rain. But there we go. Anyway, so what are you up to at the moment? What's
the
forefront of your mind at the moment?
I've got a 4-week-old daughter at home, so the forefront of my mind is sleep.
That's not going to happen, though.
No, it's just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's nice to think about it.
And to be honest, I agreed to come in here just because I thought maybe, I could just sleep for a bit.
Well, I'll put some more long songs on if you like and curl up in the corner.
Long plays, yeah. So we're just continuing our work at Chasing the Stigma, trying to humanise, normalise mental health, to try and do things a lot more normal. That's what we're trying to do really, is change the approach to mental health, and to almost change this approach and this idea that mental health is a bad thing, that it's a negative thing. It's not. But the more we talk about it, people often think that mental health means mental illness, and it doesn't. Mental health is part of us every single day. If you've got physical health, if you've got a brain, you have mental health as well. And we're trying to shift that way of thinking, really, to try and, as I say, humanise it, normalise it, try and make it more normal as a conversation, which will make it easier if ever we are struggling with our mental health. But every single day we're looking after our mental health, whether you think you are or not, you are. Because
we all go through in our lives, we'll have very different lives, but also there are events that will affect our mental health in different ways depending on how we approach it. I mean, being a new dad isn't, I remember probably the most difficult time I've had looking after my mental health was the first 6-12 months of being a dad. Wasn't prepared for it, not at all. Even though I knew it was coming, I had a good 9 months to work it out. But just wasn't ready for it at all.
Because it's even if you becoming a dad for the second, third, fourth, fifth time, it's impossible to prepare for it, because you don't know. Nobody's prepared the baby. So nobody's had a word with the baby and said, this is a book that I've read and you should read this because this is how you're meant to behave. You're meant to sleep during this time. But when we talk about poor mental health, one of the biggest contributing factors towards poor mental health is change in situation. There's no bigger change in situation than becoming a parent and having to deal with that. But again, it's the idea of, it doesn't have to be that end of the spectrum. It can be if you wake up and you're in a bad mood, for example, or something's annoyed you, and you will do something, listen to a piece of music, or go for a walk, or watch a program. That's all those things are looking after your mental health. That's what you're doing, is you're looking after little ways to look after your well-being. It doesn't have to always be that end of the spectrum. And I think if we're talking about it at the kind of the end of the spectrum that I just described there, on a day-to-day basis, then that's going to make it easy for people to understand, instead of just putting it in this kind of on this pedestal to say it's only someone who's in crisis is someone who can talk about looking after their mental health. We're all looking after our mental health on a daily basis.
So it's actually taking it back from even what I was talking about there, which is, there is the crisis moment, which we like to think that we don't get to, but people do, and then that's probably what people think of when you're talking about mental health. But you're right, it's about, in the same way as you might look after your diet as being good. It's about looking after, and your diet can obviously help your mental health as well. Everything is about you. It's part of your body. It's your brain. It's your brain. It's your mind.
It is, and if you're looking after those smaller steps, then that can prevent, or hopefully prevent, things from escalating and becoming worse. If you, without kind of being flippant, but if you're using the physical example, if you feel a niggle in your arm or in your leg, you'll be aware of it. you might maybe adjust how you're walking on it or using it. If it becomes worse, then you know to go and get that help and that support, because you have been aware of it at that early stage, and that prevents it from hopefully becoming something more serious. So it's the same with our mental health. If we're aware of it at those small, minute stages, then that's going to make it much easier to prevent it from getting to a critical situation.
So do you think it'll be, hopefully, in years and decades to come, it'll be that, in the same way as here's your 5 a day for your body, will there be kind of 5 things to do, good exercises for your brain? I mean, is that what we're looking for, just to be healthy all over our body, not just about physical?
I'd certainly like to think that's the way that it's going to go. I think there's appetite for that to happen now, and there's talk for that to happen now, but the reality is that it's not necessarily happening now. Part of that has to be education in schools. We have to be talking about it to children, not just, again, people sometimes, when you talk about saying, well, we need to be talking about mental health in schools, people assume that you mean suicide and depression, and it doesn't mean that. It means looking after your mind and knowing about things that you're statistically probably going to feel at some point in your life, and knowing that you can do things yourself to look after that, as well as knowing about the support that's there. And as well, there has to be better services, because it's all well and good having mental health awareness, which we've got a lot of at the moment, but I would argue the more and more mental health awareness that is going, is putting people in arguably a bit more of a vulnerable and dangerous position, because the services haven't gone along that same kind of path. So the services have remained stagnant over the last number of years, whereas the awareness has shot up. So more and more people are aware, but they don't necessarily know where to turn to get that help, to get that support, because the services are not moving along with the times as well. So it's not just talk, it's actually investment and real-term investment and making those services better for people. And
there's been a lot of talk from the previous Prime Minister when she first came in, wasn't it? It seemed to be that that's something that she wanted to do, but didn't really appear.
No, and this is the danger, really, because that's what we're seeing time and time again. And if you talk to most people who not only work in the sector, whether that is charities and third sector, or even patients and people who have actually had to rely on services, they see how the reality of it and how poor those kind of referral processes actually are. There's people who are receiving letters saying, "Are you sure you need help?" People locally who are receiving those letters saying, "Are you sure you need help and support? Because we can't meet the demand. So we're asking you, are you sure you need help?" What position is that putting people in?
I couldn't even answer that question.
Well, you talk about guilting people into receiving that help and support, trying to get help, reaching out to go down those avenues to actually refer yourself or ask for a referral is a huge step. To then be questioned, I understand why they're doing it, but I wouldn't agree with the approach. But to ask someone, "Are you sure you need help? Because we can't cope with demand. And if you are sure, can you please let us know?" That's putting barriers in the way of people getting help or not. And if they then don't respond or say, "No, it doesn't matter, forget about it," which I would have done, no matter how bad I felt, I probably would have said, "Oh, forget it."
Yeah.
Then what position is that putting people in? That's only going to put restraint on potentially emergency services then.
Exactly, yeah. I remember I was talking about the point when I was a new dad, and it was like, I need to talk to someone here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who. So you go to the doctor gives you a leaflet, and then you call 3 of the numbers and they don't exist anymore, and the one that does answer hasn't got and it was really apologetic about it, just like, "No, there's nothing in the city left to help you." So
how long ago would that have been?
2 years, two and a bit years ago.
Yeah, and I'd probably say that nothing's changed.
No, well, I just didn't do anything then. It was just like, I'd get on with it myself, which was not a good idea at the time.
And this is a problem that we're seeing up and down the country, from adult services to children's services. People are waiting up to 18 months in some parts of the country just to have an initial assessment, just to say you're in a bad enough position to receive this help. And most people are finding, or a lot of people are finding, that they're being told they're not bad enough to receive the help and support. And this is what I'm saying about, it's all well and good having mental health awareness, but it needs drastic investment into services.
Because, as you say, it's about that kind of that guilt trip that people are being put on, which is you're assessing yourself, aren't you? And you're in no fit state to assess yourself in any way. But there is that feeling of, well, if I'm not, it's same as when people call ambulances for, they've stubbed their toe or something. Well, people do that. But there are different types of people out there, aren't there? But there are also people who, kind of bleeding profusely. Say, oh no, I don't need to go. I don't need to go to hospital, and I'll go myself. I won't call an ambulance. I won't call the police for whatever, because you feel you're putting the pressure on the services, and it's that kind of guilt the other way, which is you're wasting reserves that someone else could really, really need, but actually you really need it at the time.
And when we talk about mental health and we talk about stigma, which does exist, and that stigma exists because people have those feelings of, well, I am a burden on services or on people or on family. I don't deserve that help. I'm wasting people's time. People won't believe me. All these things come into play, and then to be put on a waiting list or to be asked, are you sure you need the help and support? It's dangerous. We are in a really seriously dangerous situation, and as I said, this is not just locally. This is happening up and down the country, and that's why it's not time for talking. It's not time for gestures and saying, well, we'll do this in 5 years' time or 3 years' time. It needs action right here and right now.
And are you getting any kind of positivity from people who have some power in any way that they're going to help?
Yeah, we are. We've got ongoing conversations. Obviously, there's been a lot of change with government and ministers and stuff. So we've got a new minister for mental health and suicide prevention. So we've actually written to her today to try and engage in some conversation to show the support and the networks that we're able to direct people to, and the influence that we've been able to have through the Hub of Hope, which is a website and app that we built to make help and support easier to find, and the impact we've been able to have as a incredibly small organisation, but making a big difference. They're the people who they need to be listening to, the grassroots, the people on the ground, the people who understand. And if we can try and shout and get in there and get in front of people, then we'll continue to do so. But we're not prepared to allow politics to fly in the face of actually helping people.
Excellent stuff. Jake Mills is with us on Mental Health Extra. A few stories in the papers. An interesting one, which I'm not really sure I believe in. A new study apparently suggesting that smartphone use and screen time is not associated with mental health problems. A new study tracking associations between adolescent digital technology use and mental health problems has found absolutely no link to depression or loneliness or suicidal intention. I can't see how it doesn't really. I find this kind of study really quite not unbelievable, because hey, science, but even when I'm using the phone, I mean, I know I'm on it too much. I know I'm on it too much, and I know it affects my relationships with other people, because very much I'm told I'm on it too much. But certainly for young people, there's so many pitfalls surrounding phone use and social media in particular.
Yeah, I mean, the likes of these reports and studies is that we'll get the opposite every week. They're constantly contradicting themselves. One thing that I would say is that I think the issues lie deeper than just social media and technology. There's the economical and sociological problems that exist. People who are in poverty, services that are not there. These all do play a huge significant factor, arguably more than social media. But social media does play a part, and I think sometimes what we're trying to do is maybe sometimes we're scapegoating social media and technology to say that it's the devil and that's the sole reason and it's nothing else, and then we'll say in the complete opposite and saying it doesn't have to be one or the other. Is the point that I'm trying to make. I think it plays a part. I definitely do think it plays a part. I do think that it can be a positive and it can play a positive role. But even just as you've just kind of described, that almost addiction to it. But then even when you're thinking about for young people and the pressures that come with social media and I went to New York at Christmas last year. And we went to a basketball game because that was like on my bucket list of something that I wanted to do. And we went in, me and my wife, and we sat in our seat. And a young couple came in front of us. They must have been about 22, something like that. And they came in late and with a bag. And the girl put on about 15 rings that she just bought and took time doing all that. And then they took a picture to show that they were at the basketball game. And she spent the first quarter of the game editing her own face. She edited her own face, changed how it looked, shaved certain bits down, changed how she looked, and then posted that on social media and then left.
Okay.
She literally changed her face to look in a way that she wanted to look. Then people are seeing her lifestyle. She took a picture of the rings and stuff like that. And seeing that, I'd love to look like her. Yeah. I want to look like her. She doesn't look like her.
No.
And it's these pressures that we're living with. Every time you look at something on social media, you don't know that whether somebody has edited their own body to look that way. That is not healthy. And that's why I don't think that it's one or the other. I don't think it's saying, I don't think you can possibly say it has zero effect. But at the same time, I don't think you can say that is the sole reason why young people's mental health is deteriorating. It absolutely will play a part. It will play a part. And that was evident for me. How many of the people are doing that to try and conform to an idea that is not a reality, to try and be somebody else.
The other point they try and make is that it's being on a phone, whether you're on social media or whatever, or maybe you're just playing a game on your phone for a couple of hours, is that you are not sleeping well, you're not exercising at the same time, but also that you are possibly being exposed to cyberbullying in that way on social media. But there's just that sedentary lifestyle, even if it's a mobile phone. Yeah, you might be sat in a park somewhere, playing Snake or whatever it is. Yeah. I think they're better games than that these days. But not many more playable. But yeah, you just sat down on your backside, not doing anything.
Yeah, and that's it. To go back to kind of having kids as well. I do find myself when my son's talking to me and wanting to do stuff, and I'm like, I just want to go on my phone and just that. And then if I am on my phone, I don't know what I'm looking at.
No,
I'm just scrolling through nonsense. And I mean, I don't know whether you've ever had this as well, but have you ever had times when you felt your phone vibrate in your pocket and your phone's not even in your pocket?
Oh yeah.
Like, what is that?
What is that? There is something.
That's not having a physical effect on and yeah. So that's what I mean. I don't think it's one or the other, but I can't see how they can say that it has zero effect, because it's got to.
The other one was I used to be able to predict when I was going to get a text on the old phones, but I think that might have been more to do with radio waves. I used to predict the text coming in,
because that was getting the did.
But that must have been affecting me in some way, because I used to pick up my phone and it would then I'd be like, whoa, what's going on there? But yes, I'm not quite as psychic as I used to be with newfangled technology. But the other one I'm just going to look at, which is quite a sweet one, really, but it's also, I think it's got something going for it, is that gardening, but for prisoners. Is really, you can see there was a
we've seen this morning. Yeah, it looks unbelievable.
The HMP Park in Wales, their gardening scheme has won an award from the Royal Horticultural Society, and just beautiful looking garden. They're growing. I mean, you see, you're going back, you watch Porridge. There's always someone doing the gardens, working on the farm. Yeah. didn't look quite like this, but this is it's a great looking garden, and it's all about. There's so much goes into it. Gardening it's not just presentation. It's not just about pretty flowers and being in a nice it's about organisation. It's about people doing their work right and getting results and being able to see that and be part of this. It's multi-sensory kind of result.
Absolutely, and we're seeing similar projects up and down the country for mental health. I know, for example, Merseycare run a gardening program at the Life Rooms, and again, it's that kind of one. It can tackle that isolation, that social isolation. It's giving people a purpose. It's giving people something to look after, to care for, to be proud of. It's not easy. It is not easy to be looking after a garden and plants like that. I think sometimes we take that for granted, but it's a really valuable resource, and the pictures that have come out of that, I would urge everyone to have a look at the images on The Guardian there, because it just shows you what people are capable of. And it's maybe something that maybe I don't know, but outside of prison, if you would have asked the people who have participated whether they would be interested in that, maybe I'd say maybe half of them wouldn't. But you're giving people an opportunity there to do something and to break out of that norm, and it's showing to have a really, really positive effect.
There is always the argument there that prison shouldn't be a nice place. You shouldn't have a garden. You shouldn't be able to enjoy that time in prison. But what we've seen from this is that people have actually gained work in horticulture after they've. I mean, they're actually. 20 prisons are showing at the Chelsea Flower Show. Yeah. And actually there's a career out of this, and I'd much rather someone come out and get a job, even if it's in a garden centre, but if someone's actually going on to work in horticulture and just step away from whatever life it was before.
Exactly.
Surely that is what prison should be about. That is
exactly what prison should be about. It should be, it's not just about punishing people and locking them up, and after a certain amount of time just letting them back into society to then go back to prison again. It's about reforming people, to give people a chance and to set them up for a better life after they come out from prison, as you said, to say turn away from that life that got you there, and set you up to be a better person in society. That's what we all deserve.
That's a nice place to finish.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
And go for sleep now.
You can. On the bus on the way home. Don't miss your stop. Jake Mills, thanks so much for coming in. Mental Health Extra. And you're back next week?
Yeah, I'll be back next week.
Back with Mick. And all the best 4 weeks in. It'll be 5 weeks. It's easy after 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Just get through this barrier.
Yeah, thanks.
All sorted. Don't worry.
Thanks. You liar.
I can't remember it. It's 2.5-year-old. I bet you remember that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's where I am at the minute.
Mental Health Monday.
Radio City Talk.